Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the morning show, Mr. Dan Matthews, is the DeWitt County Board Chair. We follow up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting. Good morning, Mr. Matthews. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Seth. Doing well.
Good
A
to hear.
little cold this morning, but other than that,
It got cold fast too. That's what's crazy. You wake up this morning and it's bitter cold, and it's only going to get colder as the day goes along. It looks like so. Really bundle up,
Yeah. When you're looking, it's -10. Real feel. Start the day off. It's not very good. So, but
Not
hopefully
great.
just a couple of days of them, we're out of it.
Sure. Well, let's follow up the board meeting last night. It was a quick one, but there's some things to expand on, I feel like, to get started here for today, Mr. Matthews. And let's start with kind of right up your alley, the marina, and just kind of continued pursuit of selling the marina. What's the latest in this process, Mr. Matthews?
Yeah, so there is a lot going on with that right now as we're exploring options of how to best, manage the marina. And so we've put out an RFP. We've got a lot of responses. We probably have, somewhere between 7 and 10 individuals or groups interested in the marina. So they've picked up their RFP packets. We did a tour of the marina on, I think it was the 6th, Saturday the 6th. And we had maybe 7, 8, 9 different interested parties, a couple of people just coming out to kind of feel it out a little bit. So we toured, the building and the docks. People were interested in the water source out there. How do we handle the sewage? So really asking questions that, that I think they're very interested in, pursuing potentially buying the marina. So we're excited. At least we're going to have lots of options. And some of the things that we heard from these people were the amount of space out there. So there's a couple people that own marinas now and run them at Shelbyville. And, they're just like, this building is huge. There's a lot we could do with this building. You have a lot of space. You have a lot of parking. There's land accompanying the dry land storage. There's a little bit of farm ground there that the power plant owns that, potentially they could lease, through the power plant, something with them on an agreement. But so they were all like, excited about the opportunity of what could be done out there beyond, what we have out there today.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So that process continues to move along. When does the RFP window close?
So we asked for questions, and we got a lot of good questions from the potential bidders that came in on Tuesday of this week. And our plan is to we have a special meeting next Monday night, get the answers back to the RFP group by the 26th, and then we're asking for the bids are due mid-February. I believe the 15th or 16th of February is when we would get the proposals in. And then I think we've talked before, just we hope to be able to narrow that down and, ultimately have a decision made whether we're going to sell the marina or, somehow run it differently than we have in the past before April 1st.
Very good. So when it comes to you talked about fielding questions from the parties interested, is that a common practice in a process like this?
Yeah, in this case, we're asking for we're not just putting it out for bid and taking the highest bidder.
Okay.
Our hope is that we get some bids that people talk about first and foremost, right? They're going to make sure it's a marina for years and years to come, right? That's their intention. The public ramp isn't going to change. Nothing like the public access. It's it's the biggest ramp on the lake. Has the land for opportunity for growth for people to add. Could be campsites, could be a restaurant, could lots of things that they could add to that. So we want to hear what would you do with it? What do you want to do with it? So the questions then came back. There's some questions, obviously the typical, is there any liens on the property? Is it taxes? How are the taxes going to look on that kind of property? If it's privately owned versus, owned by the county now. Questions about, the power source, the water, maintenance on a yearly basis. And then of course, trying to understand the revenue of, what kind of revenue has it been generating, but then also, what could be for them. So I think we got a lot of great questions that came in, and that we will be able to hammer those out on Monday and get those back out so people can really then dig in and put their final proposals together for us.
Sure, very good. So look forward to that process continuing on. And when do you kind of hope to have this closed out? And is this a process that will end this year? I mean, what's your outlook on just kind of finishing this thing out as the RFP process wraps up?
Well, if the board ultimately decides that they want to sell it, which that's whatever we do through this process, and we get the RFPs, and maybe we narrow it to a couple people, and we meet and discuss some final types of things with the potential bidders. We would then take it to the full board for them to decide do we want to sell it, right? But we can't make that decision until we go through this process. Mm-hmm. So our hope is that if we are going to sell it, we want the new owner to be in there before boating season.
Okay.
Our boating season really kicks off, obviously, Memorial Day, but in the marina, people are getting their boats in May, by mid-May, towards the end of May. Most of the boats are in their slips, mm-hmm. And things are, really starting to take off out there. So we would really like them to have as much time as they can to get in, get things prepared for the boating season, and then be able to take whatever path they're going to this first year. But, it'd be getting in and just getting their feet underneath of them and understanding how everything runs at our marina, and move forward from there. But the sooner we get it done, if we do sell it, then we want them to have the best opportunity to have a good first year out there and be able to, start developing it.
Very good stuff there, Mr. Matthews. Did I miss anything you wanted to talk about or anything of that process that we haven't touched on yet?
Not with the marina. I think we're good right now.
Very good. Mr. Dane Matthews, DeWitt County Board Chair, our guest on the phone this morning. We follow up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting. Mr. Matthews, let's dive into the animal shelter and the East Annex in DeWitt County. Of course, the EMS building out there as well. They're going to be getting some new generators. What do we know about this?
Well, it's kind of a follow-through with what we've recently done with the county building. So we put out bids to get a new generator at the county building. I don't remember the date of the weather incident we had this past year where we were without power for an extended period of time, and some of the town was out for almost a week, I believe, if I remember right.
Are you talking about the derecho?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like end of June, early July. It was like right around July 4th, if I remember right.
That is right. It was right around July 4th.
Yeah.
So, from that, we had an experience at the county building that, our generator we had, which was, 25 plus years old, didn't work, didn't do what we needed to do. So we first looked at, obviously getting that going, but also, it was made for 25 years ago when we didn't have all the computers and everything running like we do today. So a lot more demand on it. And it, because of the, type of work we do at the county and as part of the emergency management program that we have with the nuclear power plant, we first decided we need to get that generator going. So unfortunately, these things take, a year to get. So hopefully that one's moving along. So we started the same process with the animal control shelter and the East Annex so that they too won't experience any kind of, power outages for the animals, for the guys taking care of all the emergency calls. We've done some other work at both of those buildings with the roofs and with insulation. So just some things that come along as those buildings age, but this will give us the opportunity to have whole, generators that will run the entire building, not only at the county building, but also at both of those facilities as well. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Now, when it comes to the generators and such, has there been a need for that yet with some of this winter weather we've had to this point so far? I haven't, I think when they lost power out there, it was kind of odd. When they lost power out there, we lost power at our house, which it doesn't feel close to the animal shelter. So I would say we haven't lost power, but that doesn't mean they haven't. How about that?
I'm not aware that they have. I know there was some spotty, power outages here recently, but I don't think we experienced them at either one of those locations. But I'm not positive if they had, a short-term power outage there or not. But
sure.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, very good. Now, I know Mrs. Myers gave a quick update as well on things at the animal shelter. What can you tell us about her report and the things going on out there, Mr. Matthews?
Well, we kind of continue with, hiring today is a challenge, but we did have a full staff temporarily. One of the kennel support people that recently got hired was trying to work two jobs, and so found out that was a little too much to do that. So we're looking again for another kennel assistant out there, and so hopefully we have some other candidates, and I believe we did in mind that we can reach back out to and get that person hired. But as far as we have the animal control warden out there now. I think things are running great out there. But when you don't get phone calls or you don't hear of problems, then we got to assume we're back up and running and doing the job that needs to be done out there. And I think again, Tony really took this on, Tony Harris, and has got it where moving along in the right direction. And I'd continue to see it moving that way.
Sure, very good. Mr. Matthews, let's break here, my friend. Come back with some more. Mr. Dan Matthews is the DeWitt County Board Chair. We follow up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting with him. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show. WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Friday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network, corn, beans, and Chicago wheat all starting the day in the green. March corn opening at 446 3/4, up 2 3/4. May corn up 2 1/2, 457 1/2, and December new crop 478 up 2 1/4. March beans starting the day 1224 3/4, up 11 1/4. May beans up 10 1/2, 1234 3/4. And November new crop 1199 1/2. That's up 8 1/4. March Chicago wheat 594 up 8 1/2. May wheat 604 3/4, up 8. And July wheat starting this Friday 611 1/2. That's up 7 3/4. March bean meal 364.30, up $3. And March bean oil 48.10, up 48 cents. Opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Friday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
We are celebrating winter here at Baum Chevrolet Buick. This is Scott Baum in Clinton and Farmer City. Start the new year off with a new Chevy Silverado. We have the right Silverado to get your hauling and towing jobs done, like our 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s in gas or diesel with several trim levels, custom, LT, LTZ, or even high country. Celebrate winter today. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Connexus will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed-of-light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Mr. Dan Matthews is the DeWitt County Board Chair. We follow up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting with him. Mr. Matthews, while Mr. Carter did not have anything for action, at least in the land use report, did have some interesting comments about continuing to seek comment and conversation with Annell regarding the lighting up of the wind towers on the northwest side of the county. I don't know why. I thought this had been resolved and that was taken care of. What's going on here?
I thought it was resolved too, up to a point.
Okay.
I think last time we talked, I said, hey, it's all working great. There's just still two towers that the lights were staying on all the time, and that was the reason for that was that those two towers weren't fully powered yet, so they weren't in use.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for the lighting system to work, the tower has to be in full full capacity or running like the rest of them. But since then, now I'm hearing, and we heard last night that it's kind of sporadic. The lights are on, they're off, so something isn't right. And we, as you said, Mr. Carter has asked for Annelle to come to one of our meetings and really give us a firsthand explanation of what's going on. If they're having issues with the equipment, that's understandable. We see that with, it could be anything that the product isn't working, but I think it's so new to them too. This is something that, we found out wasn't done regularly at wind farms.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, we got to get it fixed. I mean, that was part of the deal. So I had asked, did they not want to come meet with us, or, I don't know why we pushed it out to March. If it's, I'm guessing there's just no answers for it yet from Annelle.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the answer yet is all I have to believe. I don't think they're intentionally not getting it fixed, but, we need to know why.
Mm-hmm.
People want to know if I'm going to tell you, hey, it's all good. And then, 3 weeks later, it's not that I lied to you. It's just that something's changed. And I think everyone needs to know why and what the plan is, and, when's it going to be fixed, or is this just something we're always going to fight? If so, then we need to take some other kind of action.
So, Mr. Matthews, with that said, it sounds like Annelle is willing to come to the table. I guess it remains to be seen if they actually follow through, but just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I hope they do, right? And I don't, as important as it is to us, I mean, hopefully we see them in February. If you heard last night, we said, they're looking to come in March. Well, why not February? It's an ongoing issue. So I'm going to push to hopefully they are there in February and speak to the board. And any other questions, other board members, or any other concerns that might be out there, we can, just have a good conversation about it. We haven't had them at a board meeting in a long time. So I think it's good that as a, partnership, we meet regularly,
Mm-hmm.
And hope to set up some regular meetings with updates. I'd love to. It's always beneficial to have updates versus wondering or guessing why they're not there or why this isn't being done. So let's put it out there and let everyone hear, firsthand what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Very good. Very good. Well, let's wrap up, Mr. Matthews. I want you to give us an update. You talked about the slip and mooring agreements for 2024 at the marina. What is this? What's this all about?
Well, there is a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of people out there asking, what's going to happen this year? Are rates going to be the same? Do we get to keep our slips? We don't intend on any changes with anything we've done with the slip renters. So all we did was look at the agreement, and we took out the previous manager's role in there, right? So who do they contact? Who is the agreement with? The agreement is with the county. So we just cleaned up some language there. We did not increase any slip rate fees this year. The only thing we did was 2 of the docks, which have houseboats and the larger boats, docks 4 and 6, have a lot stronger electrical needs than some of the other boats out there that don't have plug-ins, and people aren't staying out there regularly, things like that. So previously they were billed on a monthly basis how much electricity they use. So in order to simplify that, especially if the county is going to be continue to run the marina beyond April 1st, is we just implemented a $100 fee, and that covers their electricity for the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So that will save a lot of people. It'll actually cost a lot of them less than it did this, and it'll be simplified. There won't be any questions about the billing. It's just a simple flat fee that I think most people will be very happy with.
I see. Very good. So that's in the books, it sounds like. Mr. Matthews, anything else from last night? There's the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting we didn't touch on you want to make us aware of?
No, I think we covered it pretty much. I mean, I think the meeting was a 15-minute meeting, and we had a couple things to get done and vote on, so we have to meet and take care of those things. But I thought it was funny that Mr. Prescott mentioned, hey, we're ready for any kind of weather. In a couple hours after we walked out there, it started snowing. So the highway department's geared up, and I'm sure busy today trying to keep the roads, get the roads clear, and then fight a little bit of the wind and cold that we're going to have for the next couple of days, but then it looks like it'll be melting. So
Sure. Well, Mr. Matthews, you and I have already talked longer than the board met for last night.
That's
so
right.
That's feels like a first, at least for us. But no, we appreciate you making time for us. We'll catch you in February, and appreciate your time as always. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thanks, Seth.
That is Mr. Dan Matthews. He is the DeWitt County Board Chair, our guest on the phone here this morning as we follow up the Thursday night DeWitt County Board meeting. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.